Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Blane Anderson, and my wife and I are part of a ministry called World English Institute, and it's an internet teaching ministry of the church. And we'll have a little bit more to say about that in a few minutes. But I'm a proud father, and I know some of you ladies were at our Ladies' Day a couple of weeks ago, I think the 9th of April, and our daughter, if you can have that slide, she has a blog called Okie Sunshine. And if you know anybody who's raising young children, this would be a great Christian blog for them to visit and to sign up to. And she is a Oklahoma girl who lived in Florida, and so that's where the Okie Sunshine came from. They now live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Her husband's in ministry, so recently they moved to Fayetteville, but she's going to keep this Okie Sunshine going. So if you know anybody who's interested in that, please send them her way, and we have some cards of hers out on our table. And speaking of our table, we do have some information out there about World English in the 30 minutes that we have. We can go ahead and change our slide. I don't have a lot of time, and we're actually not going to be able to go on the website today and talk about World English Institute because it would be an eye test for anybody here. The screen's just not big enough. You're not close enough. So I'm going to just kind of give you a walkthrough about what our ministry is about. And then if you have questions afterwards, we can talk about that. If there's enough interest, we will definitely come back and maybe have a class to talk to you more about it, if you would. Now, I know a lot of you have already tuned me out, or maybe some of you, or one of you anyway, has tuned me out because you're saying, I don't know anything about the internet, and I don't want to learn. And the other thing you may be saying is I don't know anything about teaching English. And if that's you, don't tune me out, because I want to tell you the English part of this program is the easiest part. It's all multiple choice. You hit send grade, they get a grade, and their grammar lesson, their grammar lesson is graded, and off you go. But if you're one of those people who just are really afraid of computers and the internet, I understand. But I bet you know somebody who is constantly on the internet. And if you do, you need to listen, because take one of our brochures and give it to them, because maybe they might be a part of our ministry team. And so I want to thank the elders and Brother Rex for allowing me to be here today. And I want to tell you one thing this presentation is not. It is not a budget presentation. It is not a request for funds. It is not a request for money. After I leave here, no one's going to call and say, hey, I know Blane was there. Would you like to make a donation? None of that's going to happen. We are here solely to tell you about the ministry and to recruit internet teachers. And that's it. So this is our Bible class, so I think we ought to spend a little bit of time in the Word. So open to a familiar passage in Matthew chapter 28. Matthew chapter 28. It's a passage that I'm sure you are all familiar with, but it never hurts to read these passages over and over and over again. That's Matthew chapter 28. Let's look at verse 19. This is Jesus speaking. He's getting ready to go back into heaven. And in verse 19 of Matthew 28, he says, Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. And so that's our purpose. That's our mission here with World English Institute. And I want to tell you in the 30 minutes or so that we have left about this ministry, because this ministry allows us to do exactly what Jesus commanded us to do in Matthew chapter 28, and that is to go into all the nations. Now, you may be like me. You may not have unlimited money. You may not have unlimited time, and you can't go to some of these places around the world where the gospel needs to be preached, or even here in Henrietta, in Oklahoma, in the U.S. We do have World English Institute students here, because we have a lot of people in our own country who English is not their first language. And so they're interested in improving their language skills in English. And so with this program, we have the opportunity to fulfill what Jesus commanded us to do. So what is World English Institute and what is its mission? Well, it's an evangelistic arm of Churches of Christ around the world. It's the mission, it's Jesus, whatever Jesus' mission is, that's our missions as well. Let's turn in our Bibles now to Luke 19. Luke chapter 19 and verse 10. This is, if you'll remember, this is the story about Zacchaeus. Jesus is talking to him, and then Jesus talks to Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus then changes his heart and changes his life, doesn't he? And then in verse 10 of Luke chapter 19, it says, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which was lost. And so that's our mission. We're here to make disciples. We're here to seek and save those who are lost. And we're here to fulfill the Great Commission. Now, I don't have to tell you that a lot of people, if you were to go down here to downtown Henrietta and say, would you like to have a Bible study with me? You would probably get a lot of negative reaction. But with this in mind, what our World English Institute does is we use the attraction that people want to learn or improve on their English. And so we give them an opportunity to take our course, but all of our text, all of our material comes straight from the Bible. And so as they are learning about various ways of how to improve their English through writing, reading, and listening, those are the three skills that we mostly help them improve their English with. They are using the Bible to do that with. And as they learn the English, they learn the Bible. And of course, I would be remiss if I told you that, just like in the parable of the sower there in Luke chapter 8, some of the seed falls on rocky ground, some of it falls on thorny ground, but some of the seed falls on good ground. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to throw and scatter the seed just as far as we can. And if we can find that handful of people, those handful of students that want to study with us, we will teach them the Bible. Yes, as a side benefit, they will improve their English, but our mission is to teach them the gospel. And we never want to stray from that mission. And so most of our students, they have to have 2 to 3 years of English before they can participate in our ministry. We're not teaching beginners. These are people who already have a basic understanding of English. And so I'd like to tell you a little bit about World English and our name. As you see, we don't have anything in there that refers to God, Jesus, the church, the Holy Spirit, any religious thing. And that has its blessings and it has its negatives. The negatives is, people say, well, teaching English is not the work of the church. And I would agree with that. That is not the work of our church. Teaching the gospel is the work of the church. And we just happen to, as a byproduct, help people improve their English. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not qualified to teach English. I hated English, and all those English courses I had to take in high school, they always say those were my least favorite courses. Well, I want to tell you the English grading of this is very, very simple. You don't have to be an expert in English. But it is a blessing, World English Institute, because we can go to places where the Bible and Christianity is censored. We are considered English instruction. And so therefore, we have students in places that you normally would not see them. You can study this through our ministry through a tablet, a laptop, a desktop, a smartphone. I have students who actually take our lessons on a flip phone. And God bless them for doing that, because that's the only phone they can afford. And so anything that is connected to the internet we can be their teachers. And it's a blessing because people want to learn English. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. They want to improve their English. And so when they see World English Institute and our lessons are free, it's free to be a teacher, they are interested, and we get a click on them to come to our site. English is the language of the 21st century. People want to learn it. It's the language of commerce, international trade. Airline pilots communicate with control towers in English. The most prominent medical journals and scientific journals are all printed in English. And so the common ordinary man who is not maybe a part of those areas of air traffic control or microbiologists or medicine, they still want to learn and improve their English, because if they can learn and speak English fluently or better than their other countrymen, it means a job for them. It means a promotion. It means a better job. It means access to a school maybe that they couldn't go to. The prominent schools in their country, a lot of the instruction is going to be in English. And so they have a chance to improve their life. So how do we find our students? Well, the pros and cons of Miss Google, She can do all kinds of things, that lady who will, if you get lost, and she'll tell you where you got to go. Well, the same computer program that we use for getting directions, people do internet searches. And if you search on the word free online English lessons or any combination, because we pay Google $150 a day, nation or worldwide, when you type those words in, we come up to the top. Now, if you've done a Google search, you could put something in, there's 5 million pages. And who's going to go to page number 4,352? No one is going to do that. They're going to look at that first page and maybe the second page, but they're going to look at that first page. And when you pay Google, you will come up on that first page, or pretty close to it. And so that's what we do. And so all of our students, they take a lesson on the prodigal son. That's their first lesson in Luke chapter 15. And after reading that lesson, there is 23 exam questions that are true, false, multiple choice, fill in the blank. They fill out those questions, on the choice on an internet with an internet computer. And then there are 3 discussion questions at the end. 3 questions are: why did the younger son want to leave his family? Number 2, why did the older brother, why did he get so angry when his brother returned? And number 3, what does this lesson teach us about God? And so the students answer those questions. And based on their response to those questions, they will either, if they don't score at least a 39%, if they score 39% or below, we say, your English is not quite ready for our program. And so we would recommend you keep studying, and maybe sometime in the future, you can be one of our students. If they score between 40 and 70, we put them in an elementary course. And if they score over 70, we put them in an intermediate course. The elementary and the intermediate course are exactly the same. The elementary course just uses shorter lessons, and we take a little bit slow and smaller chunks, but it's the same material. And so you might be asking, well, what's a profile of the World English students? Well, 32% of them identify themselves as a Christian. Approximately 30% of them say they're Muslim. About 17% say they're Hindu. And about 10% say they're Buddhists. And then we have 5% that say, I have no religion. And then there's about 6% that are all over the map. We do have people of Jewish descent. And so sometimes we will get, I've had at least one student from Israel who was a Jew, but not a lot of them, because English in Israel is pretty widely known. What are they going to learn? Well, they're going to learn about there's a God who loves him and he has a plan for their life. And here's the plan through God's Son, Jesus Christ. We have about 39 lessons in the elementary section, 30 lessons or so in the intermediate. The first section is going to teach them about the conflict between good and evil and introduces them to God, the creation, the first human beings, the origin of sin, the spread of evil. And it says God has a plan that he's working on to solve these problems. Section 2, the king is coming. It deals with the messianic prophecies as they appear, and it points the student to this coming king. He's coming, and we go to Isaiah. We talk about the prophecies all throughout the Old Testament. And then section 3, the king has come. It exalts Jesus as the promised king. It leads the student towards obedience. And then we finally, the latter part of those lessons, we're in the conversion examples in the book of Acts. And so you have to study with us about 20 hours to complete the program. And then for students who do that, we have advanced courses. We have an advanced course that is Christian evidences, the nature of God, the Sermon on the Mount, and the blessed assurances that we have because we're Christians. Okay, and our course uses basic English grammar, and you cannot learn this English without also learning the scriptures. And you know, here in the U.S., we have a history of teaching people to read using the Bible. In the early part of our nation's history, when there weren't schools, how did moms and dads teach their children to read? They put out the family Bible, and they taught their children to read using that text. And so we're doing exactly the same thing. We're using the Bible as a text so people can learn to improve their reading. And so using, as I said, a desktop, a laptop, a cell phone, our website, you can teach people from 198 or more countries. Approximately 10,000 people visit our website each month. And of those 10,000, 4,000, so about 40% will decide, I will take one lesson. And so of those, so we have last year in 2021, we had about 48,000 students who signed up. These are new students in addition to the ones that we've had over the year. And so a student can take the introductory lesson, they grade it, and it goes back to our website. As a teacher, I can go on and log on to the website every morning. And this morning, before I left Roland, where we're from, there were 290 students who had said, I will take one. They have already taken the lesson on the prodigal son. And they're waiting for a teacher to look on the list of the 290 students, and they're hoping that a teacher will say, I will be your teacher. 290 people this morning were waiting for a Christian brother or sister to come and claim them and teach them about the Father. I think it's good that we have 290 students, but it's kind of sad that we have 290 people that have said, I will study the Bible. I have completed one lesson. Where's my teacher? And some of those students have been waiting 3, 4, or 5 days. And you may say, well, don't you have teachers to take care of that? Yes, we do. We have about 800 teachers. And that's why it's vitally important for our ministry. If we want to fulfill what God has told us to do, we need more teachers. And so if you went down to downtown Henrietta and you ask 100 people, will you study the Bible with me? If 99 said no, but one said yes, wouldn't you be thrilled? Wouldn't you be thrilled with that one person who says, I'll at least do one lesson with you? Well, that's what we have with our program. There are no records for you to keep. The website keeps all the records of the student. They don't know your email address or contact information, and you don't know theirs. It's all communicated through the cloud. So if I go up and I pick, Sally Smith this morning from, let's just say, India, I will claim Sally Smith. I'll grade her lesson. Usually takes about 10 minutes or less. And then I will send that back into the cloud, so to speak. Sally Smith will get an email. Blane Anderson has claimed you as a student, and I will send them a message. And then they will also say, Blane Anderson has graded your lesson. Log on and see what you did right and what you did wrong. And it'll give you whatever answer you did to those 23 questions. If you got them all right, it'll still give you the answer. If you got them all, if you at least got 40% of them right, the ones you got wrong and the ones you got right, it'll explain to you what the correct answer is and why that was the correct answer. And so Sally Smith then will log on to our website. She'll get her things, and then she'll have already said, okay, if she has any questions, she'll send me a message. And she's already got the next 2 lessons, a grammar lesson, a reading lesson, and she's ready to go. And so your job is to help students with those 3 questions that we talked about. Those 3 questions at the end. Did they biblically understand the lesson? That's the most important thing. Why did the younger son want to leave? Why did the older brother get mad? What does this parable of the prodigal son teach us about God the Father? And see if they answer that biblically. They might not use perfect English, but from what you can read, did they at least understand the basic concepts? If they don't, you help them understand it. And if they can't express that in the perfect English, then you just help them. And it's really simple. We're talking about basic punctuation, spelling, and grammar. There's a spell check in the system, so if you misspell a word, it'll flag it for you. So if a student says, why, he answers, why did the older brother get jealous? And maybe he says, well, he did be jealous of his younger brother because he wasted the money. Well, he did be. I mean, you don't have to be an expert in English to know that just doesn't sound right. He did be. And you would just say, I understood. I'm glad you understood the lesson. You got it right. But your sentence would be a little better if you would write it like this. Instead of he did be, you would say he understood. So, whatever. And so that is one way you can help us. And so we want people to treat their students as people, not as numbers, not as notches on the belt to see how many people you can claim or be baptized. And so we want you to treat our students as people. When you go to that list of 290 people and you decide who you want to select, some people take the top. My wife, that's what she does. Whoever's been waiting the longest, that's what she does. I'm interested in Latin American missions, so I'll look and see, is anyone from Guatemala, Venezuela? You can search that. Or I'd have a friend who's a police officer, law enforcement. He looks to see, is any of the students' occupation listed in law enforcement? He checks those. So you can do anything you want. We have a lady who over the years has become an expert at claiming single young Muslim students who are male. She has converted several of those people in that category. She has several, as a result of her work. There are Christians in Afghanistan. You won't hear anything about them over the news. But if you talk to Sister Catherine, she could list you several Christians and at least 2 churches that are underground in Afghanistan. Okay? And so I recommend that if you decide to be a teacher, you at least select 5 students, because they may or may not all of them be, they took the one lesson, but they may not take them all, and you want to have a good base. Some people just take one and they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they get discouraged. So I tell you, at least take 5. If you want to register at worldenglishinstitute.net. And I want to close out 2 things, and then we got a short video. World Bible School, Brother Rex mentioned that. And I want to just say that World Bible School and World English Institute are not in competition with each other. We are collaborators in every sense of the way. If you are a World Bible School teacher, don't stop. Continue to do it. Because where WEI can go where places World Bible School can't. Remember, they have the word Bible in their title. They do have online lessons, but they also have a lot of postal lessons as well. I know for a fact the country of Guatemala does not have a postal system. The government cannot sustain it. They gave up. You cannot mail a letter to your aunt or uncle in Guatemala. So the internet is the best way for us to reach them, and they want to learn English in Guatemala, I can tell you that. And so I want to close out with Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. And then we're going to watch a short video. Again, we can't go through all the things. I'm just trying to whet your appetite. If there's enough interest, we can come back. Or you can go online and register to be a teacher. We just ask, the main thing we ask about our teachers is that you don't take the material, you start your own school, and it's a for-profit school. This is all the information is free for our students. It's free to be a student, but we don't want you to take the information, set up your own school, and charge people as a for-profit ministry. This is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. It's a familiar verse. It says, "So shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish what I purpose and shall succeed in the thing for which I sent it." And so our job is to sow that seed. And this is just one of the things that we're trying to do to help that and get that mission to go. So if you have any questions, my wife and I, after the lesson this morning, will be out there. We'll be glad to talk to you about it. We'll have our cards. If you want to talk to me personally, or I'll walk you through it, you have a phone call, email, and we'll do that. So if we can just do that one video, I may tell you to cut it off at some point because I know we're running up against time. But this is a video I think is worth watching. This is the perfect situation. A student and a teacher connect, and then they connect to a missionary in Albania. Go ahead.
I'm from Albania. I want to tell you about how I got to meet Jesus. It was the summertime and I was in my hometown in Berat. I was surfing the internet to find something about my English skills. So I Googled it and I found World English Institute there. I clicked and it happened that they provided Bible lessons as well. So I was a little familiar with the Bible as a child, but haven't never studied that before. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. And I signed up. Then they told me that they're going to sign a teacher for me. We got in contact and he sent lessons to me in English and about the Bible. And also I had to fill some exams about each lesson. And his name is Bob Hasselroth. He's from Tennessee. He was being really patient with me and very loving and advising and never criticizing or saying something that would hurt me. Always encouraging me. And we come to a point that I really loved him and I still do. So we were really, really close. And as the lesson were continuing, and I was starting to think more about Jesus and Christianity. Then he was really encouraging me to think about baptism. We were doing the basic course, and I got my certificate mailed, and but I was not being baptized yet. So we continued our study. Then I was really interested in going to a church. Then he told me about Ellen Walker, so I got the address. It was Sunday, but I was there earlier and very excited about how's it going to be. Then I met Ellen. She was studying with a friend or student who was older than me. Then we had ladies class, and still I have to say that it was a little weird in the beginning, even the church itself, because I was not used to such a community. My background is Muslim. Then Ellen has been a real sister for me. She has advised me. I never stopped continuing my study with Bob Hasselbrook. I'm still his student. We still study together. But Ellen has been patient, advising me things that I need to know because he's a man and she's a woman. And we really need advice from both genders. And she really helped me with some issues and topics about Christ and Christianity and my faith, how to grow in that. And finally, I come to the conclusion that I wanted to be baptized. And it happened in January 26th. I gotta say that it is very weird how sometimes just a click can change your life. And today, we know that we live in a modern world. We have technology and everything. I mean, we are in a good way that we can even use internet to come to Christ.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my life has never been the same. I really had a bad time when I met my professor Bob, that now we have come to that friendship that he called me his spiritual daughter, and I called him a spiritual father. And we Skyped, and I want to introduce him with my family, even though we have never ever met. He's never been to Albania before. And so the point is that people do not have to give up on believing in miracles, because I think that with little things on the internet that we use it every day, we can change lives and save souls, and that's what World English Institute is doing. So I really encourage people to continue their work, because they're going to find other Emmanuels in the world that are really blessed knowing Jesus and meeting people like this.
Exactly what happened with one clip. Works out there and it's trying to do it.